Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. Today I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. Should be a good one today as we've got ourselves a Terran versus Zerg on the map Ascension to Aiur. Now the reason why I say it's going to be a good one is actually the two players we have here are two very great players to watch. Spawning down the bottom right hand side of the map, one of the reasons why I'm so excited to cast this game, it is Root SuperNova. You guys, if you're not familiar with the name, SuperNova is a player who's recently come out of retirement, streams a lot, plays a lot of his sort of own styles, and so it's great to see him going up against players like his opponent here. Spawning up in the top left-hand side, it is Splice Solar. Splice Solar, a Zerg who's sort of risen relatively recently in the StarCraft 2 scene. I mean, he's a very good Zerg. He sort of plays a bit of his own style too, does his own thing, but he really makes it work. And so this TvZ should be a good one. I mean, Solar I definitely would say is the favored player. SuperNova recently came out of retirement just a few months ago, but he's really getting back into it and playing a lot, whereas Solar, he's been playing pretty much non-stop, competing in tournaments and everything like that, so it should be a good matchup here. And now, normally if this was sort of just a head-to-head straight-up game, you'd think that Solar is the player who's really got the advantage. I mean, he's probably got the more up-to-date mechanics and things like that, but SuperNova is a player who's been playing mech for years, and this is the reason why I say playing mech for years is relevant is because a lot of the Terrans have been playing mech recently. They've sort of been trying to find new styles to work, and Terrans for a long time would try to do this sort of head-butting with the Zerg. They'd go bio, they'd try and kill the third base at a specific timing, try and deny the fourth, etc., go for drops, things like that. And the Zerg would play Lingbane Muta, but recently with the sort of Hydras being a bit more common in the meta, Terrans have sort of been looking for other ways to go about it. They've sort of abandoned the just straight-up playstyle, and they're playing it a little bit more scrappy right now, because mech is a style that sort of didn't necessarily work versus Zergs who knew how to deal with it, and that's sort of because Terrans would play the linear mech. They'd sort of just go for this one sort of style, and the Zergs, yes, they'd know how to deal with it, and then they'd sort of win because they'd just know how to counter it and take care of everything, whereas Terrans, they're sort of playing mech a little bit more chaotically, as a matter of fact, lately. It's sort of recently come into style. I mean, in 2016, there was a Gumi, later on in 2016 and earlier in 2017, mech really rose to popularity. Lots of players were sort of trying it, and the reason we saw it rise so hard was because the Terran players were playing mech a lot more chaotically. They weren't sort of going for these specific builds. SuperNova is opening up with some Hellions right now. He's going for a Starport, but we don't know exactly what he's going to do, and honestly I'm not too sure SuperNova does. It's just Terran players have been playing a lot more off game since they've sort of been going for their own things, and Zergs, they're very good at dealing with specific styles when they know what's coming, but mech lately has been played so chaotically by Terrans, they have a tough time knowing exactly how to deal with all the variations, and that's why Terrans are sort of pulling out wins with this mech. So I can say without a doubt that I think SuperNova is going to mech. I mean, he's a player who basically exclusively plays mech in TvZ. He's opening up with Hellions, a Starport, making a Viking. This Overlord for Solar here is getting on top of this Starport while the third base goes up. SuperNova has seen all this with his Reaper. So, I mean, I sort of just rambled on a bit there about all sorts of mech, but we'll actually just have to see what SuperNova does here. He starts a cloak on this Starport. We'll see if that's actually what he plans on going for. I mean, this was sort of right underneath the Overlord, so it could be a bait. He could cancel it here. Although from the looks of it, he's not going to cancel it. SuperNova does love the Banshees. He's a player who's had incredible Banshee control, was one of the top Terrans for quite a while, and so his skill is still going to be there. So even with a Banshee, even with it scouted, you can always make something happen. Right now we see SuperNova's looking to go for a bit of a Hellion run, but he's going to get on top of these Lings here, and it looks like he may actually dive on in there. He possibly is going to go for a few drones there and get out. No, he's actually going up into the main base. Meanwhile, Solar's scout at SuperNova's base is getting denied there. Now these Hellions are actually getting on into the main base. Solar's been forced to pull his workers. These Hellions, the drones are lining up. SuperNova is getting on top of them. He's working away there, picking off a fair few drones, getting off a few good shots. Lots of Queens there were to deal with it, but 13 drones have fallen this game for 6 Hellions. I'd say that was a worthwhile trade. SuperNova is now ahead in workers here. Solar, maybe a little bit agitated by that run by, looking to maybe get something cheeky of his own if SuperNova's maybe got his wall down, maybe got some units out of position, but it looks like the SuperNova sort of locked up tight here with this command center completing the wall off. We now see a Banshee at the third base of Solar, picking off a drone or two there. Currently getting 2 drones, going to be moving on over towards the natural now. SuperNova, a player with exceptional Banshee control. A Spore isn't necessarily going to stop him from picking off a drone or 2. Banshee taking a bit of damage there, but he's working away. He gets 2 drones there. He's possibly going to get a third, and he will. Solar trying to save him, but so far this Banshee up to 5 kills, and that's really enough to justify it. Particularly when Solar took that other early damage there. Landed Viking taking over this watchtower. Another Banshee moving on towards the main base. Solar will know that's coming. SuperNova sees all these lings here, or he will. This Viking needs to be very careful not to get caught while landed. SuperNova, though, has been patrolling the map with this Viking. He's currently gotten... How many kills is this guy at? He's at 3 kills, so 3 overlords killed. Is very nice here. SuperNova is sort of playing this mech style, which he's getting control of the map here. The Hellions sort of dominate the lings, which is the Zerg sort of main map control unit. Right now Solar's just stuck on these 3 bases. He's going into an infestation pit. He's got a roach horn as well, getting that speed, so maybe wanting these roaches to deal with potential Hellions here. Playing it a little bit cautious right now. SuperNova, though, going towards his 3rd base right now. A ling there is gonna deny it, at least for a second there. These SCVs may get harassed a little bit. Hellions are moving on in, though. They'll take care of that, and the CC will go up. It does get scouted, but that's not too important at the moment. I assume Solar will go for his own 4th base relatively soon. If you see a Terran player who's getting on 3 bases, you either pretty much all in or go for your own relatively fast 4th base. Solar investing in a lot of tech right now, though. Getting up a hydrogen, getting up a hive, as he already got the infestation pit there, and now making a few roaches to deal with potential run-bys. SuperNova got a very quick double armory. He's delayed a lot of his production here, but he's going to have very nice upgrades here. Going to be ahead of the Zerg player, who's investing in the range at the moment, so he is going to be relying on these roaches and hydras here. Hellions looking for another run by here, however there is one roach. There's a lot of lings there to catch him as well, so 1 or 2 Hellions will go down, and then they'll be forced to retreat. SuperNova starting a 4th base on location. I'm not sure if Solar saw that. He did. But I mean, there is 2 Banshees, there's Hellions, so the possibility of Solar canceling it isn't too high at this moment. For now, Solar is just spreading his creep, working away here. Hive is done. Well, is going to be finishing up in a second here. Transformation servos on the way for SuperNova. He's making a good amount of Hellions. He's making some Viking or 2 even, so he's going to be going for that sort of Thor, I mean, pretty much everything, really. He's going to have a Thor to some Hellions, and then Vikings and Siege Tanks. Really just a sort of catch-all style. Right now we see Solar is investing in Vipers. In my opinion, Vipers are the best unit against Terran mech. They can deal with mass air. They can absolutely punish Siege Tanks and turtling mech players. These Hellions are possibly going to be caught by these roaches here. They're going to have to retreat. That's certainly a fight they can't take. Solar is investing in Aspire there. 1-1 is going to be finishing up for Solar. 2-2's already on the way for SuperNova, though, so he wants to have these really good upgrades, and he's going to have a crazy economy to support this. He hasn't started a PF just yet at this base, so getting a planetary fortress pretty soon would be nice to see coming out of SuperNova. We see a bit of a roach run by here, working away on some of these units. Trading with the Hellions, I mean, the Hellions aren't very good. There's really just this one siege tank doing the zoning there. Another one coming down. SuperNova is getting prepared, but it does look like Solar's aiming to go for a timing attack right now. He's on 81 drones on 4 bases, so really he can just produce and produce if he chooses to. He is going to poke in on SuperNova right now, though. From the looks of things, he's moving across the map. He's sort of being pushed back by those Banshees. Well, the Roaches are anyway, but he's got energy on the Vipers. He can afford to do a few Blinding Clouds here, or Abducts, whatever he prefers, and then he may be able to break SuperNova. SuperNova, though, is getting the Planetary Fortress here. He's got a Siege Tank or 2, and he's also getting up a Sensor Tower, so this will be seen here. in a second. SuperNova will need to be careful with his army positioning. Vipers may be looking for a unit or two to abduct here. The Vikings are going to sort of poke at them, I assume. No, it looks like that Solar is just going to poke on in there. SuperNova has seen this. He's got the sensor tower. A Viking does get picked off. We now see Solar looking to poke in, but most of his army is somewhere else. He's got some moving towards the third base, but I mean, there's all these siege tanks here, so I don't think it will accomplish too much. Maybe going to re-angle and go in at the third base. There is just 3 siege tanks here. An abduct goes off on that one Viper. Vikings are working away on him, but 2 Vikings also get abducted. Nice pick off there for Solar, so 2 Vikings and a siege tank. But really, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to kill SuperNova here. He really needs a bigger army. He's almost maxed out, but he's got a very high drone count. Upgrades are in SuperNova's favor. Solar's heading towards his own melee attack and his +2 missile, but there's going to be 3-3 on the way for SuperNova here, so SuperNova doing a great job staying ahead with these upgrades in this game. 8 Corruptors are on the cards for Solar, though. 8 Corruptors eventually leading into Broodlords with this Greater Spy. Right now, though, it looks like SuperNova just getting on top of his army. The Banshees, the Siege Tanks, all with their high upgrades, just sort of pushing this army back. A good parasitic bomb went down there, but ultimately the Vipers were picked off. That's a very nice pick off for SuperNova. And now the remainder of these Hydras do go down as Solar maybe not paying the most attention to his army there. SuperNova is going to push in. He may be able to sort of tighten the noose around Solar's neck. There's this very exposed 5th base and a potential 6th base here. SuperNova maybe going to be able to pick off 1 or 2 of these bases. Just wants to siege up the tanks to lock down this position. And right now we're seeing a very common in the meta timing going on right now. The Zerg player trying to get to Broodlords that can ultimately defeat the Terran mech ground army, but there's a decent amount of anti-air for SuperNova here, and SuperNova is killing off these bases right now. Solar knocked down the 4 bases. SuperNova may be going to continue to push in. These Broodlords will be finishing up here. There's a few already out. They've got that aquatic Broodlord skin on, by the way. That's sort of neat there. We've got a lot of Queens and Hydras here to support this army. The Siege Tanks, so ultimately will push them back, but once these Broodlords are here, I'm not sure SuperNova is going to be able to push in. Looking at the army supply, though, it does look like he's going to be able to push in. He's on 40 supply right now. He's working away in the space. The Broodlords are starting to sort of volley onto this army. They're starting to work away on it, but this base is very weak, and when Solar loses this base, it'll be a 3-base Zerg versus a 4-base mech Terran, and that is a very rough situation. It looks like the base will go down. A lot of the siege tanks are just getting picked off, but SuperNova now knows that he can retreat. Some more siege tanks going down. A lot of siege tanks have fallen this game at this point. 7 have gone down, but that was the 3rd base for Solar. He's really on a 2-base economy at this point, with his main starting to mine out, his natural also starting to mine out, and then his 3rd base is gone. He's looking to take a 5th base to really get his economy back on track, but he's down on supply right now. We're seeing some Hellions moving in for SuperNova. Gonna get picked off right away there. SuperNova, though, looking at this, he's securing a 5th base while all of this is going on. He's building up a mass Viking, mass siege tank count, everything really to deal with Broodlords, to deal with Hydras and Queens. So this could be a very scary army. Solar making 9 more drones, so he wants to get up to that higher count again. However, he could be vulnerable to an attack by SuperNova. SuperNova securing up his 5th base. He's going to start building up a very high bank because he's almost maxed out. He's got a great income compared to Solar. He's leading by quite a bit there. Solar long distance mining. That base is just finishing up, but his economy has taken a hit. SuperNova's maxed out as a result, whereas Solar down about 50 supply at this point. SuperNova could hit a very strong timing window. It can really go either way, though, depending on how the air fight goes, and I think that's really what it's going to come down to. There's 8 Broodlords, which can deal with the Thors and Siege Tanks. However, this is pretty much just 8 Broodlords with a bit of Hydra and Queen support, which is 13 Vikings right now. So I'm not sure that Solar is going to be able to hang on right now. He needs a few Corruptors to come out, I think, to sort of absorb the damage. He's going to need either Great Parasitic Bombs or Blinding Clouds to bring down this army. Solar retreating, sort of pulling back, not really wanting to engage this army to buy as much time as he can, as he is down in supply. He's up to 180 now, to 200 here. But It's still a very scary army for SuperNova. SuperNova's got the 3-3, whereas Solar's upgrades are so far behind at this point. SuperNova just got these upgrades, and he's making good use of them right now. He's going to push in with this very scary ground army. Players are very equal on supply. There's a very high Viking count, though. They're starting to work away in these towards. Parasitic Bomb goes down. SuperNova's going in. Decent spread on the Vikings, but a lot of them are taking damage. There's so much flash damage going down on these Vikings here. Most of them have actually fallen. The Hydras are focusing them all down. The Thors are really going to be all that's left for SuperNova to deal with this. However, these are 3-3 Thors versus Broodlords, and Thors are actually very efficient versus Broodlords in their alternate attack mode. They're massive anti-air damage, and a good transfuse going down, saving some of the Broodlords. However, the Broodlords not killing these Thors very quickly. The few SCVs repairing on them. There's 5 Thors here, 2 Broodlords. I don't think it's going to be enough for Solar. There's no really any more units producing, and when there's the Thors and Siege tanks, I think that's going to be pretty much Solar dead here. GG gets called as SuperNova manages to bring down Splice. Solar, very well played by him. I mean, this is SuperNova doing mech at sort of his finest there. Managing to bring him down. Very well played. That was a fantastic game there between these two players. So, if you guys enjoyed the cast, honestly, this has been my second time casting this game. Call me a fool. I forgot to hit record the first time I started, so I basically casted to myself there. But either way, this was a great game to watch. Certainly actually worth seeing twice here. SuperNova making this sort of scrappy mech style work. Solar not exactly knowing how to deal with it. Really, a lot of the advantage for SuperNova came from that Hellion run by, though. I believe 13 drones is maybe a little bit too much at that stage in the game. And then the Banshee to add on top of it. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, so make sure to subscribe as I'm putting out a bit more SC2 content. Make sure to leave a like if you like this particular video, as it's great to see that sort of feedback on the games. Otherwise, I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching.